You're listening to Keep Alive. Let's talk with a man with a loud microphone. Here he is, your host and mine, William Lee. Oh, stop. Give me a big head now. Thank you very much. Appreciate the applause. And hope that we can keep that applause coming. We appreciate you people that are listening to our show. It is gaining a little popularity, and we're going to try to get it to the point where everybody wants to talk. And it's so important for us today to have communications and conversations about all these different types of things that are going on in America today. And social media has been the greatest platform ever designed with high technology. It has been a real tool for us, the regular guy, to go ahead and view his points about politics or cooking or whatever subject he would like to talk about and be able to talk to the world. And that is where things started maybe going wrong in the last few months. It seems that all of a sudden, as we've mentioned on many of our shows, that TikTok is really not that great of a thing to have around the house. You know, you think, well, I've got TikTok on my phone. Celebrities are on TikTok doing goofy things, you know, dancing around like they're mentally deranged. We've got kids with TikTok challenges. Oh, that's kind of exciting stuff to look at. In fact, I can remember very vividly the TikTok slap in the head challenge. Yes, that's when you got your buddy in the classroom with his wonderful phone to flip it on camera while you snuck up behind the teacher and him in the head or her in the head. Now, I thought that was a wonderful idea at first. Then I thought to myself, wait a minute, what do you mean that's a wonderful idea at first? Just think of the teachers that were probably at this point of the time thinking, I'm putting up a camera or a mirror or something so I can see what idiot kids coming up behind me in my classroom, which is for education, not for brutality or assault, coming up because of TikTok and wanting to slap me in the back of the head. I think if I was a teacher, I'd be ready to just a couple of punches right to the old kid's noggin for slipping up behind me and smacking me. Well, wait a minute, maybe that's not the proper thing to do or say, but I'm telling you right now that it is absolutely not even believable what TikTok has done. Now, some of the TikTok shows have every type of video platform of stupidity that you can think of, and not a whole lot of value that I've found on TikTok so far. But there's more problems with TikTok than just that. So let's go back and look at the history of TikTok. Now, first of all, for those that didn't know it, TikTok was actually invented, I guess you say, or out of a Chinese gentleman's mind came this vision in 2016 when he initially launched in China and India only. Now, those are the only two countries that had TikTok. That was it. However, you know, international version of TikTok was introduced global market in 2017, and it went viral. Since then, TikTok has become one of the world's largest popular short-form video hosting services, attracting millions of users worldwide. Its success has been remarkable. Over 2 billion mobile downloads globally by October of 2020. Whether you're creating a dance challenge, a lip sync, or sharing some funny moments, TikTok was the culture that you wanted to become in a phenomena of impact on social media and entertainment. Of course, the entertainment thing I thought was really entertaining is the gentleman who got on TikTok and explained to you how you could take your phone and some other gadget, walk up to a certain year Kia or Hyundai car, do a magic do-do-do-do, and drive away with it, causing insurance rates, I know, in the state of Washington to go up 6% because of the amount of cars that have been stolen. And, of course, they bring them right back after they get done. Oh, wait a minute. No, they don't. They either park them in the middle of a dime store, parking area waiting for the guys to jump out with the bags. The driver flips it in reverse and drives the car through the front of the pot shop or jewelry store or whatever they intend to rob. Clean it out and leave the car, jumping into another stolen car because it's cheap and free, and driving off into the sunset because of our antiquated laws in the state of Washington that we're not allowed to pursue people that are doing, those things once they get in the car and race down the street in stolen vehicles. I could go on with that forever, but I won't. Getting back to TikTok, however, the big issue is that TikTok is a Beijing-based technical company by ByteDance, which was founded by the Chinese billionaire entrepreneur. And I won't even try to, pronounce his name. I have a hard time with my name. But, what was interesting about this is that the ownership of this country is really unique because, of course, the Chinese aren't going to give us the full facts of what's going on. But they claim that 60% of this company is owned by global investors, 20% by their employees, and the other 20% naturally is by the co-founder himself. So, when you look at it, you think, well, that's Chinese, that's Beijing. Aren't they a communist country? Well, yes, they are. Now, there are some Americans that have invested thousands of dollars into this program, but not enough of them to really hold a big stake. I would say maybe 1% of the known shares that China holds is what we call hidden. I think that's the best word to use because TikTok has emphasized that U.S. owners' data has been, taken care of for the stockholders, and it's only stored in this information in the U.S. Of course, it's controlled by U.S. security team since 2022. And if you think about it for a minute, I think it was Trump that said this is a threat to our security in this country and started chopping away at it before Trump took over in the areas of trying to get this thing out, exposed, and destroyed. Well, naturally, Biden comes in, the Democrats, we'll get to it like they've done with the border and everything else they've done. And all of a sudden now we've got horrifying things going on in our country. And now they're scared to death that Beijing is actually spying and using it for information transfers from spies or trying to, shall we say, get information that they can store and watch what we're doing in our economy, watch what we're doing in our social and private lives. Naturally, we wouldn't worry about communist China. Why would we be upset about the wonderful people that want to come over here and blow us up and take us over? That's nothing to worry about solely. Well, when we looked at this, I think, TikTok thing, and I started studying it, there's, I'll bet you, 500 hours of different senators, different news medias talking about the bill that is going to die in the Senate. The Republicans naturally are interested in this, as the Democrats are showing signs of being interested in it. The president has said, you bring that bill up here and I'm going to sign it. Well, that's wonderful. But let's stop all that and not even go there for right now. What I want to do is I want to kind of turn the tables a little bit and see what the end user or another effect that TikTok's had in our country. Now, there was a lady that is a PhD. She's a professor. She's written a book, and we've got some excerpts, from what she had to say concerning the effects that TikTok has on our kids. So let's take a listen to this. The lady is going to professor, I'm sorry, I should have used that terminology, is really going to lay out the full effects of what TikTok's about for children.
We know that the more hours a day a teen spends on social media, the more likely it is he or she is going to be depressed. And TikTok has a particularly sticky algorithm. People go on it for 20 minutes, think they're going to go on it for 20 minutes, and then they're on for 2 hours because it shows you what it thinks you want to see. And the other thing is TikTok is very popular among young children, elementary school age, early middle school age, when they're really not supposed to be on social media at all, but they are. And at those ages, that's where the links to depression are the strongest.
Now, I find that very interesting. You notice that she said they shouldn't at all be on there. First of all, TikTok's age is 13 years of age. And the parents, if they let them look at it younger, they're supposed to take the responsibility if anything goes wrong with what they're being taught or seen. Now, how many parents do we know that have time to even parent childs right now with all the economic problems and everything else that I've discussed on this show? Sit down with the child and say, look, TikTok is really not very good until you're a little bit older. Yeah. And the reason being is because some of the stuff that's being done is absolutely, I don't know, silly. And you don't want to watch the silly stuff. But yet parents don't really realize that. They let the kids go on and watch TikTok for hours. Now, the algorithm, which they were talking about, is a fascinating system that takes the content that you see and makes it drive into a working machine. And this is what it does. It personalization. Now, it recommends to the users to consider their independent and individual uses and preferences when they create these wonderful, I don't know, videos that make no sense at all to me. The computer sits there and looks at all this and says, okay, how much engagement and the metrics would be coming, including the likes and the dislikes, and it calculates all the likes and the dislikes. Then it looks into the comments and puts them in classifications that it can recall. Video completion. Oh, there's a great one. How many people stuck with that video, got it finished, put it on, and did another one similar to it, and another one similar to it. And favorites. Oh, favorite videos really makes this whole system actually work, because then they can pretty well guide your mind through what you're doing. And it's interesting, as the professor has mentioned, that the attention span gets longer and longer. And we'll listen to the final comments that she had in just a moment. But when you look at all of this, the type of content that you create influences recommendations to the computer. And it analyzes the fine things that you are looking at, the unique time and overtime that you're looking at these different content issues, and it puts it together so that it becomes to the point where viewing your behavior and it justifies making recommendations in what you want to see. And it keeps showing them again in different types of content, again and again and again. So TikTok is like a digital matchmaker, introducing you to videos that you'll love for sure. Now, what kind of effect does this have on the younger generation? Well, the professor will, I think, better in this particular clip explain to you to an understanding of what we're looking at when it comes to how this is affecting our youth.
Well, there's a lot of issues here. So my most recent book is called Generations. It's about how technology affects all of us. There's positive effects, there's negative effects. And in the age of smartphones and social media, the negative effects are that these companies are making millions, if not billions of dollars on our time and attention. So they take that time, they take that attention, and then kids and teens are not doing the things, enough sleep, spending time with each other face to face. The algorithms on those other platforms aren't as sticky, and those other platforms are not as popular with younger children and younger teens, where the biggest issues lie. Help with these mental health issues that we're seeing among teens. Very serious issues. Self-harm among 10 to 14-year-old girls quadrupled since 2010.
Now, that's very serious. Since 2010, we have seen that young girls are having more and more difficulties in their life, judging their lifestyles, where they want to be or what they want to do. We see more and more influencers, younger generation. But you know what the sad part of it is? YouTube came out many years ago, and of course, that was a big crave to become an influencer because you could make big dollars. Once you got a YouTube going that was really very good, maybe you're discussing things like makeup and you're a young lady, or maybe you're a young gentleman who is discussing the dating process and comes out with all these informational points for better dating. The ideas and contents go on and on and on when it came to YouTube. And as merchandisers watched what was going on, they saw this younger generation of, they got some money in their pockets to spend. They wanted to get a piece of the action. And the best way to do that is to get the influencers influenced by making extra money by going onto their YouTube channels and selling products or lifestyles or giving an opportunity for these companies to sponsor your video productions. And this was very crucial. We saw many kids, unfortunately, make a lot of money. But also the downside was we saw many commit suicide. We have seen just a host of mental problems that after a while accumulated with these kids that looked at the video aspects. Wow, what I could do because I can be seen around the world and all this money that's going to come in and I could become a celebrity. And there's a lot of influencers that are celebrities. But unfortunately, it cost human life because of the depression. Well, I didn't make it. I had a show on for 6 months and my mother helped me with the makeup and the clothes, and I thought I was really doing great. And then all of a sudden, the world comes to an end because, well, there just isn't anything going on. I don't have a whole millions and millions of likes and followers, and what am I going to do? And the money is slowly deteriorating and disappearing, and bang, they take you into a situation where they go into complete, unadulterated, without a doubt. I call it a dismal hole in the world where depression sucks them under and they get to the point where they can't survive any further. Serious situations with social market have made this happen with the thriving idea that they can make big money and become self-reliant at a young age and see the world through rose-colored glasses. It doesn't happen that way all the time. But social media and many platforms have been set up to give you that false illusion. Now, when you are not mature enough to handle those complicated ideologies, marketing programs, production programs for YouTube or TikTok or any other channel, the kids decide that I'm a failure, I can't stand it, and bang, they're gone. This is wrong. But it isn't just TikTok that has this problem. It isn't just YouTube that has this problem. It is any social media platform that exposes and works on your emotional fears or your emotional ideology of how you want to see life. And as long as that happens, the after effect is going to be what this professor has just mentioned, suicide or mental illness or both. I don't know how many, and I'd love to find out, young generation people that are on the streets right now that got out of high school, they got on their own, the world was a bowl of cherries, and then all of a sudden they end up 2-3 years down the road broke, living on a bench or maybe in the streets. And what happens when that happens? What happens when all this success filters away very quickly? And then the opportunity for drugs, mental illness, and homelessness set in. It's a terrifying reality. Social media has been the best tool that has come around in a long time because, as I've mentioned many times, it gives you and I the opportunity to speak and to come out with ideas and viewpoints that we want the world to know about as we see them. It's freedom of speech. But what TikTok is going to do now is going to force us into a situation of how do we have freedom of speech? How do we control what's going on for our kids? And how are we going to make foreign countries stay out of our bedrooms and living rooms? It's very difficult. And now it's worse than ever before. As she mentioned, many kids are depressed. Many kids are committing suicide. This is an epidemic that's unbelievable and far-reaching. I hope that everybody will understand that social media is a great tool. It is the rights for us to speak our minds and to show the world that the United States of America, the citizens, the taxpayers, the voters, the people that live here, have these freedoms which we need to guard against intrusion by foreign countries. China is not interested, folks, in anything else but destroying us economically or any other way that they can do it. They're right there in the same boat that the Russians are and that little fat creep in Korea who thinks he is God on earth. These are the type of people that will utilize high technology tools to destroy us. We've got to ban them, but we've got to be able to figure a program out that works so it bans the bad guy and allows us to continue with the freedoms that we all love. It is really very important for us to remember that America was built on communication and a conversation, and social media has produced the greatest conversation tool that has ever been done by man. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed part of the show. I hope that I've at least enlightened you on what's going on. You'll see more and more about TikTok. You'll see more and more about legislators jumping in because it looks like the bill is going to fail in the Senate. Naturally, nobody can get along, so we have the same problems until 2024 when who knows what will happen when the elections show up. But remember this, if you keep a clear thought in your mind, a thought of what America can be, how America can rebuild and start again. Remember, if you keep loving your heart for others and extend an opening hand out, America will grow, and you, I promise you, friends, will keep us smiling. Until we talk again, have a great evening.